Welcome to Combos from the Couch by LifeStance Health, where leading mental health professionals help guide you on your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Combos from the Couch. I'm Nicolette Lianza, and joining me today is therapist Saba Suleiman, and we'll be discussing mental health stigma and the South Asian community. So, welcome, Saba. Great to have you on.
Hi. Yes.
Let's get started and have you tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to become a therapist.
Sure, yes. Let me first introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Saba Suleiman, and I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor working with Lifestance Health. A little bit about myself. So, I am originally from Pakistan. I was born and raised there. I moved to US exactly 11 years ago this month from Pakistan, yes. And what led me to become a therapist? That's a very interesting question because when I was a kid, actually, when I was 10 years old, my father, as a matter of fact, started to show some symptoms, which I can now use the jargon word since I know them. At that time, of course, nobody knew. He had a manic episode, but the first line of action that everybody took in my family and my relatives was to take him to a spiritual healer. It's considered that it is some kind of black magic or some evil eye and all the things around that. So he was basically treated for that. And of course, after some time when he was not getting well, he somebody recommended to take him to a psychiatrist. And then he went to a psychiatrist, took medications, and he got better. So that was the first time where I felt and figured psychology is such an important field and I have to do something with this, something in this field. But also a little part what happened was that since I was 10 years old, but I'm the youngest in my family. I'm a fourth born in four siblings, among four siblings. So basically I became my father's therapist, like counselor. Like I would sit with him and talk to him whenever in future he had moving forward, he had any episode. I would spend hours with him, and sometimes the material would be irrational, but I would just really, and that's when I felt when I grew up that I should be doing this. This is what my
That's
journey.
what drew you to a career in therapy and counseling,
Yeah,
huh?
I think I was just a natural, it's just really close to my heart and my home, this field, the psychology. So,
Got you, got you. So, as we dig in, and thank you again for sharing a little bit about your background, what are the most common cultural barriers you'll encounter when South Asian clients first maybe seek out therapy?
yeah, so basically, just as I explained a little bit regarding the spiritual healing, that is one of the common cultural barrier because that is what is considered to be the universal truth when anybody is not okay. They are having depression, panic attack, any kind of hallucination, anything to do with mental health disorders or psychological issues, I would say they go for the spiritual healing because the belief is that it is due to some kind of black magic or evil eye or even like possession of some kind.
Yeah, yeah, got you.
So that is the first one I would say. But then also there is I think the second point here is that there's a really big lack of acceptance. Even if somebody
Hmm.
is not okay, people around him or her would be like, he's just doing it for the sake of seeking attention. Like I literally have an example where a kid, 15 or 16-year-old, had a panic attack, but his father was never agreeing that it is a panic attack. He kept saying, oh, he's doing it himself. He's doing it to get attention. And that's
Hmm.
just very sad to see. And I think the other barriers that I am going to talk about is if you have some mental health issue, if you need help, and quote unquote, oh, am I crazy? Cuckoo. So if I'm not okay, then who would want to marry me? Who would want to be my
Hmm.
friend? So the fear of not being able to develop the relationships because they are quote unquote again crazy is
Got
something
you.
that is a big fear. But one more, which I would like to really talk about, is the barrier. It's seen as a sign of weakness. It's like,
Ah, got
oh,
you.
okay, you're seeking therapy, so you're not strong enough to handle the stress. If you're a Man, are you not man enough? So what if you have all of this going on? And so what? Everybody does that. Come on, man up and do this. And if it's women, then, oh, are you not close to God? Are you not doing enough? That it's just a lot of, it's considered weakness to be
Yeah.
seeking therapy. You're not strong enough. So they
Okay.
have to end up doing it on your own, on their own, like figure
Got
out on
you.
your own, kind of.
So I think this definitely bleeds into a lot of looking at when we're looking at these barriers within the community. I think this bleeds into some specific cultural beliefs within the
Hmm.
community that contribute most to mental health stigma, the
Hmm.
signs of weakness, things like that. Are there other specific cultural beliefs?
Yes. So the cultural beliefs that would contribute to mental health stigma would be like, first and foremost, I would think there are so many that I just talked about, but there are a few more which are like fear of social judgment. Like, for
Mm,
example, if I need therapy, and if, first of all, I don't want to accept, like, because it's a sign of weakness, that's one thing. But then,
mm,
even if I do accept and I would like to go for it, I wouldn't, because what is other people, what are they going to think about me? It's a very common
mhm.
saying in South Asian community, which is in Urdu, which means, what are people going to think?
Ah, got
So
you.
even if this is such a big pressure in South Asian communities, Nikki, that people literally live in submission, they live in fear, they keep accepting so many things, but just not speak up because, or they don't go for therapy because what are people going to think? That's one of a
Yeah.
very, like, the fear of social judgment. And then also there's a very big, I would say, cultural value around keeping things private in family.
Mm,
So if you're
okay.
seeking therapy and if you're going and talking to a therapist, then you're betraying your family and sharing the family secrets
Got
or your
you.
family norms. So just keep it private. But then one more thing that I thought about when I was reading this question, honestly, was the fact that it's a little controversial, but it's not a religious thing, but it's a cultural belief that, okay, if somebody's not okay, then okay, it's because there's a punishment from God.
I see.
It's, oh,
Got you.
you're a sinner, or because it has, you did something in the past, so now you're being punished,
Got
which is not
you.
a religious value at all, which it's
Okay.
just purely cultural value. But because of this, also people don't come forward and seek help because, oh, I would be viewed as a sinner or somebody who didn't do good things in life.
No, thank you for sharing that because we're talking about anything that contributes to that stigma within the community.
Correct. Yeah.
Have you seen that the stigma around mental health in the community has it evolved over the past several years or decade at all?
Yes, yes, a lot. It's still a lot of work I feel like needs to be done. And that is why I was so interested in doing
Hmm.
this and talking about this topic and having a voice. But yes, social media has played big role, by the
Hmm.
way, in the awareness. I know there are pros and cons, but because now there are people putting videos and there's stuff on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, but there are like small videos about mental health importance or depression or what to do when if you're suicidal. So people are becoming aware, but also the fact that the other thing how, or the other way how it has really evolved is people have now started to accept that they need therapy and they go for
Hmm.
it, but in privacy. It's
Okay.
so their family of origin might not know, or their wife wouldn't know, or if their wife would know, then the friends wouldn't know. It's, or maybe just one close person would know. So at least this thing is happening that, okay, you know what, I should do it. But they're able to break that barrier. But the other barrier, which is like the fear of social judgment, so they
Mm,
end up doing it in privacy. And then also the other element I would say why or how it is evolving is when they seek the spiritual help, the spiritual healing, and when they see that it is not fruitful, it's nothing is happening, so they end up going for therapy by recommendations or suggestions. It's never the first choice in the beginning, but I guess slowly, gradually, the awareness is happening. And that is what I was thinking about in a way that this is a lot of work still needs to be done in our community, like where to spread awareness, to talk about it, to tell them, hey, there's no need to be scared. You can come and seek therapy. Like it's okay to need help, to ask for help, and to accept the help. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe in probably so many communities. We need to continue to expand that mental health
Mhm.
awareness and accessibility for sure. So, what strategies do you use to bridge the gap between traditional South Asian values and Western therapeutic approaches?
Yeah, so there are multiple, but I guess the first and foremost is psychoeducation. Like
Hmm.
psychoeducation is a big one here because since I'm aware that there's so much of lack of awareness, and I can help by educating the clients by just telling them about what it is, how it happens, how there is literally no judgment and unconditional positive regard. So basically, psychoeducation is what takes place a lot of in this kind of therapy, but also um, I like to integrate spirituality because there's people who are more of, I would say most of them are religious or they believe in some kind of religion. So the faith-based therapy that you like to call it, so basically bringing the spirituality in the work. And then catharsis is they can just talk about them. And when they see that they are heard without any judgment, with unconditional positive regard, slowly, gradually, the trust is being developed. And I feel like the biggest thing here, working with South Asian communities, that I have found helpful with my own community is to build relationships really, because
Hmm.
they come from a collectivistic culture, right? So big on families and relationships. So once that rapport is built or the trust is built, that's when the work really starts to happen.
Oh, I bet I
You can,
agree.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can't just directly jump, but even other clients, you can just directly jump into techniques, but especially with them where okay that the relationship is really big, kind of.
Yeah. Definitely. Any other insights you'd like to share?
Yes, I guess one of the insights that I would like to share here is regarding the fear of language barrier,
Hmm.
because so many people also don't come for therapy because English is not their first language. And then there is this fear around, if I go for therapy, I would have to speak in English and I might not be able to express myself openly. Really important to remember that there is no shame in demanding a therapist of your own language.
Yes.
There are
Right.
therapists out there. I speak Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, which is one of the folk languages in Pakistan. Also, one of a very important tribal language in India, actually. Sikh people only speak Punjabi. So there is no shame in when you make a call, in demanding, requesting, hey, I want to see somebody who speaks this language. English is a language, it is not a tool of intelligence. So I really
Right.
wanted to bring this up and just really say this that please, if you need help, no shame, just come forward, take help. And you would find therapists who speak probably the
Yes.
same language and are also from the same religion, if there's
Right.
anything like that. So
I'm
yes,
really glad
again,
that you brought that up because I think it is another barrier what would keep people from seeking out mental health help,
yes,
right?
yes,
So
because I am aware of so many people who don't go for therapy thinking I can express myself properly in this language. And so
right.
explaining to them that yes, but it's evolving. This field is evolving, and there are so many therapists who speak your language. They are Pakistanis or Indians or Gujarat, Bangladeshi, and they can speak the language and just try and open those doors. There's still a lot of, I know, stigma, barriers, but it's just this is the one point that I really wanted to kind
Yeah.
of bring it up, the
I'm
language
really glad
piece.
that you did. So important that you did.
Thank
Let me
you.
thank you again, Saba. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and sharing this really important topic with us as we're trying to just break down barriers to stigma behind many communities, but specifically looking at the South Asian community. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, I wanted to do this. I want to keep doing it. I want to have the voice for the South Asian communities, not just people from Pakistan, because cultures overlap Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, some of those. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me over.
You're welcome. I'd also like to thank the team behind the podcast, Jason Clayton and Julietta Whitten. Thank you for listening to Converse from the Couch. Take care, everyone.